they know your ending has no significance. But the moment they get to know that your ending has significance, resistance will come. So what opposition are you facing? David faced his first opposition. His first opposition was the lions and the bears. He destroyed them. And he got, thank you, my son. But he now faced a greater opposition, Goliath. I know some of us may be facing some resistance. You see, the greater your opposition, the higher your reward. He destroyed lions and bears, and all he got was, thank you, my son. But the day he brought Goliath down, the greater the size of your enemy, the bigger the reward that is coming your way. Let's push ahead. Let's work hard. Let's go ahead, children of God. Last week we dwelled on S, stop making excuses. And we dwell on T, take stock. God created you for a specific purpose and gave you time, the exact amount of time to fulfill this purpose. Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 3. Last week we talked about taking stock. You were born for a purpose in God's plan and was given sufficient time to fulfill the purpose. None of us have any reason to grumble about time. Because God will not make any mistake. He sent you into this world for a purpose, and he gave you sufficient time to live according to the purpose. God is an accurate God. He does not make mistake. He created the grass well ahead of time before he sent the sheep here. If it were man, we make mistakes, don't we? Oh, we do make mistake. You will create the animal, they will come and they say, oh my God, we missed it out. What are they going to eat? They say, rush food quickly down. But God made sure the grass was in place before he sent the sheep. So he gave you a purpose to fulfill and he gave you time. You have no excuse. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1.
What profit has a man from all his labor, in which he toils under the sun?
Yes. Go ahead. Ecclesiastes 3:1.
Is it 3:1 or
3:1, ma.
To
To everything, including the reason why you came into this world, there is a season. Thank you, ma. A time for every purpose. That was why when Moses was provoked, the Bible said he saw a Jew being maltreated. Because he had a calling inside him, because he had an instinct of a deliverer inside him, he rose to his feet and he killed that Egyptian. And the after effect of the step he took was he became a fugitive because it was not time. What he did was right, but the timing was wrong. But when it was time, at the age of 80, God now commissioned him. And he did not need to use gun or arrow. The Lord said, what is in your hand? When it is in your time to carry out your commission, whatever you have in stock is sufficient for God to use. When it was time for Moses, he took stock and he thought he was going to use his tongue. He said, but God, I am not eloquent. I cannot speak well. God said, if it is argument, you cannot argue children of Israel out of Egypt. Pharaoh is too smart. He's not going to yield to negotiation. Did he yield to negotiation? No. God said, what is in your hand? It is your time to be commissioned. What is in your hand? Take stock. He said, just a mere rod. He said, that's sufficient for me. So after taking stock, children of God, what is in your hand? The most important thing is the timing. Time is against many of us. So it is time for us to redeem time. You are not going to show up in heaven until God show you to the world. In the name of Jesus. The reason why he created you, you are going to carry it out, whether the enemy likes it or not. In the name of Jesus. Those who saw Esther had a lot of sympathy and pity for her. She had no father, she had no mother. She was living with an uncle who was not holding any position of substance. The man was sitting at the gate of the palace. He opened the gate for people to go to position of high places, to receive contract, to speak with the king. But he could not go there. He opened the door for them to go in and they come out. Some of them will even ask him, is the king in? Is he asleep? He knows everything about the king's schedule, but he has nothing of substance to discuss with the king. That was the type of person Esther was living with. But inside her was the value. Inside her was the seed. Inside her was the potential of the next queen. When she was looking at vastly far ahead, she did not know that seed was waiting for her. But when it was her time to fulfill the purpose why God sent her into the world, God looked inside her and brought something. The Bible said the king looked at her and he could not remove his eyes from that lady. He looked at her and said, this has nothing to do with whether he's a native of this place or not. I don't care whether his father came from this nation or not. She is too beautiful for me to miss. Glory be to God. When it is your turn, no one will turn you back. In the name of Jesus. I said, when it is your time, no one will turn you back. In the name of Jesus. Ecclesiastes chapter 7 verse 17. We are recapping on taking stock and the time for commission. Ecclesiastes chapter 7 verse 17.
Do not be overly wicked, nor be foolish. Why should you die before your time?
Why should you die before your time? Ask yourself. God has given you time. He has given you purpose. And the purpose why he sent you into this world is a purpose that will give you significance. It's a purpose that will make the world to recognize you. Why should you die before your time? Some of us will wake up and they will sleep. Fela Anikulapo will say, it's just like we came into this world to just eat and die. I cherish time so much. A drunkard wastes his time. When you are drunk, the moment you are drunk, you don't think right. When you are thinking right, you are not making it. Now you want to put your mind in gear, think nonsense. Now you are not. There's nothing you can do with a time when you are drunk. It's better to be sleeping than to be drunk. What I'm saying, children of God, is no one of you will show up in heaven until you are shown to the world. You are born for a purpose, and God's plan in your life shall be fulfilled in the name of Jesus. For God, length of days and years is not the measure of life. Not how many years you lived. It is what you do with the number of years. Rather, what God will ask is, what have you done with the years? What have you done with the years so far? We went through last week. Last week is gone. I do read. I will write out how many things I achieved last week. What's happened to me in my life that made me better than the week before. If you have no record of anything that has advanced you mentally, physically, or spiritually, then you are not living. You are just existing. So children of God, after taking stock, it's important for you to now evaluate yourself. The Lord had given you purpose. He had given you time. How are you using it? Ask yourself the question, what did you do with last week? What have you got to show to justify the time? There are almost no difference between anyone who wasted last week and somebody who is in prison. There's almost no difference from anybody who wasted last week than somebody who is in the hospital. The one in the hospital can even give excuse, but what excuse have you got? Find your purpose and give time meaning. Psalm 90 verse 12 says, teach us to number our days that we may apply our heart unto wisdom. Teach us to number our days that we may apply our heart unto wisdom. Take stock. Use what you've got to get what you want. There is treasure in the house. The next step is take direction. Take direction. Children of God, there is a place called there. There is a place called there. A place that God calls us from the beginning. He told Jeremiah, before your mother conceived thee, I knew thee. And he told him, there's a place waiting for you on earth to become prophet of nation. So there is a place called there. That's why he told Adam, what are you, Adam, where art thou? When God asked Adam, where art thou? He knew he had lost his position. God wouldn't have asked him, where art thou? God should know where he was, but he looked down and did not find Adam in his rightful position. So he asked him, where art thou? So it is with many of us. After taking stock, take direction. After taking stock, take direction. After taking stock, take direction. Let's open our Bible quickly. Let's open our Bible to Genesis. No, let's go to 2 Kings. 2 Kings chapter 19, verse 13. After taking stock of what you have, take direction. Because there is a place called there. This place cannot be found on a MapQuest. And I can assure you, those of you who have navigation gadgets in your car, there's no way you can punch the place called there and it will show you anywhere. But there's a place called there. 2 Kings chapter 19, verse 13.
Where is the king of Hamath, king of Arpad, and the king city of Sepharvaim?
First Kings, sorry, I'm sorry. Very sorry. 1 Kings 19:13. Take direction after taking stock. Go ahead, ma'am. There came a voice unto Elijah and said, what doest thou here? Thank you, ma'am. After taking stock, children of God, it's important for us to take direction. Because there is a place the Lord has designated for us. The place is called there. The place is a place of peace. The place is a place of divine location where your own allocation of God's blessing is waiting for you. This place is a place where water isn't wet without it. Grass doesn't seem green. Colors lose their brilliance without it. Adam stepped out of his there and he lost dignity. This was a man who named everything God created. God brought everything and he named them one by one when he was there. He was so intelligent, he did not duplicate the name of anything God created. But after he had missed his position, when he was no more there, the Bible said he was naked. And he went and he looked for, he got leaves to cover his nakedness. His level of intelligence has reduced so badly that he did not remember he could make clothes out of the skin of animal. God had to come and then cover his nakedness by the use of the skin of animal. There is a place called there. When you get there, the place called there, you are celebrated, you are not tolerated. When you get there, the world will come and favor you on their own volition without soliciting. When you get there, signet of kings shall be removed without measuring